All right, let's invest in your process by looking at your habits, your focus, and your concentration. So let's think about it. Why is process over outcome important? Well, we've got to look at what our habits are that get us to where we want to be. So when you're looking at your habits, what is your system? You don't have a system? We need to get you a system. What great habits do you have? Do you have some habits that are just okay? And then do you have some habits that you just absolutely need to get rid of? So I would like for you to think about some key components that make up your process. Do you have a mental game plan? Do you have the components of what it's going to take for you to be successful? When does it start? When does it finish? Is it just your pregame? Does it start a week prior to your event? Do you have so many games in the week that you really can only focus on it that day? What does that look like for you in that mental game plan? Does it have things like imagery? So in your pregame, let's think pregame. Do you use imagery? Do you have some kind of a routine of your performance? Do you think about your thoughts, and do you have the ability to recognize and replace anything negative that is coming through? Do you know where you perform well? Do you know where that zone is where you can get there? Are you able to be in the zone? Do you know what it feels like when you're hyped and excited? Do you know what too hyped is? Do you know when you feel not good enough and how to get yourself amped up for that? Do you have an ability to pep talk yourself when you're not feeling that thing? And then also, do you have an ability to thought check? Do you ever stop and just kind of check in with what is happening? When you're in the middle of a game, do you have things that are do you have some kind of a refocus routine for when something happens that you don't love in the game? How's your breathing? Are you working on your breathing? Do you love a box breath? Do you love a 6-8 breath? I highly encourage you to figure out a breath that you love to use when you need it. Because when you start to make that adjustment in the game and you're not using your good breaths, the game speeds up. Our shoulders get tight and tense. We start taking shallower breaths, which doesn't allow the oxygen to get to your brain so that we can fully think through all of the pieces that we need to do. And then also during the game, are you allowing things that are out of your control to influence how well you do? Make sure that it's something that is in your control that affects your game. And then after the game, are you reflecting? Are you journaling? Are you writing anything down? Do you have something in your notes section of your phone? Whatever it is that makes you, that allows you to go back and rethink through some things. And then also, do you relax? Are you able to let it go? I know some people, it takes time to wind down. That's why I'm a big fan of jotting things down. Do a thought dump. Let it get out of your brain so that way you can move forward with whatever it is that you're doing. The next thing that I would like for you to think about is, where is your attention? Where are you allowing your focus to be? Because you are the one who gives power to what you focus on. You are not always aware of where your attention is going. So think about it. You're sitting right now, you're watching a video. Is the fan on? Is the air conditioning on? Is the dog barking? Did the refrigerator just go off and on? Was there ice that dropped into the ice bucket? Are there all of the pieces that you're not even thinking about? Are we scrolling on our phone the whole time? So that way, when we're paying attention to our phone, we lose everything else that is out there. Your attention flows, and then your body, your energy, your emotions, they tend to follow that as well. So let me ask you this. Where has your focus and attention been lately? What have you been focusing on? Are you focusing on the right things that are going to drive you to success? Is your attention focused on the past, or are you thinking about the future? And then also, are you too busy paying attention to things that you have absolutely zero control over? And let's think about it a little bit deeper. Why'd you wake up today? Did you decide where you are going to focus your energy, your work, your love? That's a big question. And sometimes it stops people in the tracks. You get to focus on where you are giving all of those pieces. And then what does your refocus routine look like right now? Are you practicing it? Do you know what to do when you need to get your focus back? So I want you to think about a few things that might make you lose control during a game. Did somebody say something? Was there a bad call? Did you boot the ball and you were frustrated? What is it that might make you lose focus? Do you have any objections to having some kind of a refocus routine in the middle of the game? And a lot of times people will tell me, I don't have time for a refocus routine. I just got to get back to it. But here's the thing. If you have time to think about your mistake, you definitely have time for a refocus routine. So be thinking about that. What is it that you're going to do to bring you back? Create that refocus routine. I want you to think about something that is physical or maybe a visual thing. So, I'll have some people who they'll wipe an arm or a leg or they'll tap a helmet and like 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm back in. There's words that you can say. I love one of my favorite movies was Kevin Costner, and he would say, clear the mechanism. And that signaled his brain, it is go time and you've got to get rid of everything else. What is it that you are going to use? So I would love for you to think about having something physical. Aaron Judge picks up a handful of dirt and shakes it and lets it go. Ken Ravizza, he said not grab a toilet, but he would have a plastic toilet and it would flush, and you can flush it when you have to get rid of those feelings and those thoughts. That's if you have time to do that. But sometimes we need something to go to when we need something to go to. I like things written in a helmet and a piece of tape. Put a piece of tape inside of your glove, whatever it is, on the side of your shoe. Write something in there, some message that's going to trigger something, a go-to phrase that says, it's time to get back in the game. And then you have to also decide when you are going to use that. So in your thought process, I want you to, if you have a refocus routine, I want you to kind of go through this checklist. Is it something that you can do quickly? Can you do it in the moment? Is it repeatable? Is it something that brings your focus back to the game? Is it something that you can do in practice? Because when you're making those mistakes in practice, you've got to be able to get back into that focus. And that's where we want to implement. We want to make sure that we use it in practice so that when it comes to game time, you're ready to go. And then also, is it paired with a deep breath? Lastly, how is your discipline? Does your discipline lead to distractions? Because if it does, that means we maybe have a lack of discipline. So sometimes we need to make sure that our process is, again, it's specific. We need to be able to concentrate on very specific tasks. You are supposed to be able to concentrate 2 to 3 minutes per your year of age. Sometimes that's a really long time, and we really don't train that anymore, because I know that some of you guys are scrolling through social media, and if it's longer than 15 to 30 seconds, you've already moved past it. You don't even sit through the long videos because our attention span isn't even 3 minutes long anymore. There used to be an old joke, like when I was younger, that a commercial break, we learned how to use the restroom in the middle of a commercial break because we knew that it was about 2 to 3 minutes. That's about our whole attention span. Think about it. We don't even sit through a commercial. We'll grab our phones and just scroll on that. So we've kind of gone away from the idea of what 2 and 3 minutes feels like anymore. And so I challenge you to do that. Go into the classroom, see if you can focus for a chunk of time, and know that also you can turn your concentration on and off. When you're in the middle of, if your competition is a 3 to 4 hour competition, or even a 1 to 2 hour competition, you don't necessarily have to be focused that entire time. That's almost impossible for you. So decide when you have to be focused and really hone in on that time. And when you don't have to be focused, it's okay to laugh and to joke and to step back and take that breather for a second, so that when it's time to be back in it, you are able to do that well. And then you also have to know where that spotlight of your concentration needs to be, when it needs to go internal. Do you know exactly when you need to be in the zone and where you need to be to get there? And then also, it's kind of like a cone. Do you know where your attention needs to be so that you can fully concentrate? When I was designing a softball field, I asked for concrete dugouts. I wanted cement walls because I did not want my athletes to be able to turn around and chat with their parents right there. I find that that's one of the biggest distractions in youth sports. And so, are you able to tune all of that out? If you are not, I challenge you to give that a try.